Hey, I've noticed something lately, and I thought it's important to talk about it. I've observed that you've been sharing quite a bit about your personal struggles openly, especially when it comes to your faith.
Oh, really? I didn't realize. I just thought it might help others if they know they're not alone in facing challenges.
I understand your intentions, and it's commendable that you want to be transparent and help others. However, as Christians, we also need to be mindful of how we share our struggles. There is a fine line between transparency and revealing too much.
What do you mean by revealing too much? I thought being honest and open was a good thing.
Absolutely. But there is a balance to strike. Sharing personal struggles is fine, but doing so without discernment can lead to unintended consequences. It might affect your witness, and it could potentially discourage others in their faith.
I didn't think about that. I just want to be genuine.
And that's a wonderful quality. But consider discussing your struggles in a more private or controlled setting, like with a trusted friend, mentor, or in a small group where you can receive support and guidance without broadcasting it to a wide audience. Proverbs 29:11. Fools give full vent to their rage, but the wise bring calm in the end. Ephesians 4:29. Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen.
I see your point now. I don't want to hinder someone else's faith journey by oversharing.
Exactly. Our vulnerability is powerful, but it needs to be shared wisely. We're called to uplift and encourage one another in our faith, not unintentionally burden others.
I appreciate you bringing this up. I'll be more mindful of how I share my struggles moving forward.
I'm glad we could talk about it. We're all works in progress, and I'm here to support you in your faith journey. Let's encourage each other in a way that aligns with our Christian values.
Definitely. Thanks for caring enough to bring this to my attention.
Hey, can we talk for a moment? I've noticed something that I think is important to discuss.
Sure, what's on your mind?
I've noticed that sometimes you share very private details about your prayers and spiritual struggles in public settings. I wanted to bring it up because, as fellow Christians, we need to be mindful of how we handle and share our private prayer life.
Oh, I didn't realize it was coming across that way. I just thought being open about my struggles might encourage others.
I appreciate your intention to encourage others, and that's commendable. However, the Bible does talk about the importance of keeping certain aspects of our spiritual life private. In Matthew 6:6, Jesus says, "But when you pray, go into your room, close the door and pray to your Father, who is unseen. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you."
I see. So, you're saying I should be more discreet about my private prayer life?
Yes, exactly. There's a balance between sharing and keeping certain things between you and God. Broadcasting very private details in public settings might inadvertently blur that line and could make others uncomfortable.
I didn't want to make anyone uncomfortable. I just thought being transparent was a good thing.
Transparency is great, but there's also a wisdom in discerning what is appropriate to share publicly. It's about finding that balance so that we respect the intimacy of our relationship with God while also being mindful of the comfort and feelings of others.
I appreciate you bringing this to my attention. I'll be more mindful in the future about what I share publicly regarding my private prayer life.
Thanks for being understanding. We're all on this journey together, learning and growing in our faith. Let's strive to encourage and uplift each other in ways that align with the teachings of Christ.
Hey, honey, have you thought about what gift we should get for the Smiths? We're seeing them this weekend, and I want to make sure we have something nice.
Absolutely, dear. I was actually thinking about that. You know, we've known them for quite some time, and I want our gifts to be meaningful.
I agree. Any ideas?
Well, I was considering something thoughtful, something that shows we know them well and appreciate our friendship. I think a lot of times people end up with generic or thoughtless gifts, and I want to avoid that.
What do you mean by thoughtless gifts?
You know, those generic gifts that seem like they were picked up without much consideration. Like a random candle or a generic gift card. I feel like those can come off as if we didn't put much thought into their preferences.
Ah, I see what you mean. So, what do you have in mind?
I was thinking of something more personalized. Maybe something related to their hobbies or interests. We know they love gardening, for example, so perhaps a set of quality gardening tools or a unique plant could be nice.
That's a great idea. It shows we've paid attention to what they enjoy. What about a thoughtful card with a handwritten message?
Perfect. A card with a heartfelt note expressing our appreciation for their friendship would definitely add a personal touch. It's these small details that make a gift memorable.
I like it. Let's make sure our gift reflects the warmth and gratitude we feel for having them as friends. Thoughtful and personal it is.
Absolutely. It's the thought that counts, and I want them to feel truly appreciated. You know, when it comes to gift giving, we have to be careful about cultural and religious sensitivities.
What do you mean? I thought a gift is a gift.
Well, yes, but different cultures and religions have varying beliefs, and some gifts might unintentionally violate those.
I didn't realize that. Can you give me some examples?
Sure. For instance, if you know someone practices a specific religion, it might not be appropriate to give them something that goes against their religious teachings. Like, a gift associated with a different deity or religious symbol.
Ah, I see. So, it's about being respectful of their beliefs.
Exactly. Another example is dietary restrictions. If you're aware that someone follows a certain diet for religious or cultural reasons, giving them a gift that goes against those dietary restrictions might be insensitive.
That makes sense. It's all about being considerate of their customs and practices.
Yes, exactly. It's not about restricting what we give but rather being mindful and respectful. For example, if someone is vegetarian for religious reasons, giving them a gift of meat might be offensive.
Got it. I never thought about it that way. Thanks for bringing it to my attention.
No problem. It's just a matter of being aware and considerate. It ensures that our gifts are well received and don't unintentionally offend someone's cultural or religious beliefs.
I appreciate the insight. I'll definitely keep this in mind next time I'm choosing a gift for someone.
Mom, I was thinking about what wedding gifts to get for Sarah and Mike, and I had this idea, but I'm not sure if it's a good one. What are you thinking, dear? Share your thoughts. Well, I thought about getting them a book on how to have a perfect marriage or a subscription to a relationship counseling service. You know, something to help them avoid common mistakes. Sweetheart, I understand your intentions, but we need to be careful with gifts that might be perceived as suggesting they need help or that their marriage won't be perfect without assistance. I just want to help them have a strong start. That's wonderful, but let's think of a positive way to support their marriage. Maybe consider a gift that encourages quality time together or something they can enjoy as a couple. It's important to celebrate their union rather than hinting at potential challenges. I didn't think about it that way. I don't want to send the wrong message. Exactly. Let the gift symbolize your joy for their union and the positive aspects of marriage. Maybe a weekend getaway package or a beautiful piece of art for their home. Something that brings joy rather than implying they might face difficulties. You're right, Mom. I want them to feel happy and loved on their special day. Great. Let your gift reflect the joy and celebration of their love. That way, it will be a positive and memorable contribution to the beginning of their journey together. Honey, I was going through the wedding gifts we received, and some are really thoughtful, but there are a few that felt a bit odd. Have you noticed?
Yeah, I've noticed. It's interesting how people have different ideas about what makes a good wedding gift.
Exactly. Like, someone gave us a book on successful marriage tips. I mean, are they trying to say something?
I saw that. It's a classic example of a gift that might come off as a bit insensitive. People might not realize that it implies we need advice.
I appreciate the sentiment behind it, but it did make me wonder. What else do you think falls into the category of not so great gifts?
Well, generally, gifts that suggest the couple needs help or improvement can be tricky. Like, anything related to relationship counseling or self-help books might be seen as a subtle insult.
That makes sense. It's like saying, hey, your relationship might need work.
Exactly. And we also need to be mindful of cultural or religious differences. Some gifts might unintentionally go against their beliefs or values.
True. It's essential to respect each other's backgrounds. What else?
Anything overly personal can be awkward too. Like, extremely intimate items might make the couple uncomfortable, especially if it's from someone outside our very close circle.
Yeah, I noticed a few intimate items in the gifts. Maybe people think they're being funny or edgy, but it's a thin line.
Right. And we need to remember that not everyone is well versed in gift etiquette. Some might genuinely be unaware of what might be inappropriate. When it comes to gift giving, it's important to consider the recipient's tastes, preferences, and the nature of your relationship. Here are some general categories of things to avoid giving to anyone. Offensive or inappropriate items. Steer clear of gifts that may be offensive, inappropriate, or in poor taste. This includes items with offensive language, images, or messages. Regifted items without thought. If you choose to regift, ensure that the item is still in good condition and that it's something the new recipient would genuinely appreciate. Avoid regifting items without careful consideration. Overly personal items. Be cautious about giving gifts that are overly personal, especially in professional or casual relationships. Items like underwear, personal hygiene products, or overly intimate gifts may be uncomfortable for the recipient. Cheap or thoughtless gifts. While the monetary value isn't the most important aspect of a gift, overly cheap or thoughtless gifts can convey lack of consideration. Put some thought into the recipient's preferences and choose something meaningful. Gifts that violate cultural or religious beliefs. Be mindful of the recipient's cultural or religious beliefs. Avoid gifts that may be considered disrespectful or inappropriate within their cultural or religious context. Dishonest or fraudulent gifts. Gifts involving dishonesty, fraud, or unethical practices should be avoided. This includes counterfeit items, pirated software, or anything that goes against principles of honesty and integrity. Discriminatory or exclusionary gifts. Gifts that may contribute to discrimination, exclusion, or division should be avoided. Choose items that promote unity, understanding, and inclusivity. Items encouraging harmful behaviors. Avoid giving gifts that encourage harmful behaviors, such as substances or products that contribute to addiction or are detrimental to one's well-being. Revealing personal struggles unwisely. While sharing personal struggles can be meaningful, be cautious about revealing highly sensitive or private information without discernment. Consider the appropriateness of the setting and your relationship with the recipient. Gifts that require maintenance or commitment. Avoid giving gifts that may burden the recipient with additional responsibilities or expenses. For example, pets, plants, or items that require ongoing care may not be suitable unless the recipient is prepared for the commitment.
That's a good point. Maybe we should focus on the positive and appreciate the thought behind each gift, even if it misses the mark a bit.
Absolutely. It's the thought that counts, and we can always find a way to graciously receive and acknowledge the love and good intentions behind each gift.